Namaste, beautiful souls. It's Dr. Danny. Welcome back to my channel. I hope everyone's having a magical day and living their best life. I know I am certainly feeling so much better these days. I have finished a marathon of shifts since the solstice. I think I've done 9 24-hour shifts since the 22nd of December, and I just finished the last one last night. So I don't have to work again until Sunday. And I'm really excited because we're getting ready to start Stellar Foundations, the 13-week, 91-day immersion into the 13 gates of the zodiac. Hopefully you guys can all hear me pretty good. Who do we have here? Let's see. We have Lori from Washington. Thank you so much for being here, Lori. I cannot wait to get started. Harmony Goddess, Beth here, looking forward to learning about Loosh. Yeah, oh my gosh. I've had so much fun putting together this presentation for you. I was just going to do a Q&A and share some stories with you about some certain transformations that I've gone through, some purging that I've done within my own soul. And all of a sudden, this topic just kind of came from spirit. So we're going to get into it, and it's going to blow your mind. Let's see. Christine Yan, grand day, Dr. Danny and everyone. Yes, yes. Hopefully you guys can look at the sky tonight. Oh my gosh, it's so beautiful. We're going to look at stellarium, but if you can get outside at sunset and see Venus over on the western horizon, very, very close to Saturn. These two are snuggling in the sky, and this is what I have natally. If you guys have remember seeing my tattoo right here, check it out. So it is Venus and Saturn. This is my sigil. You guys see it on my charts. And that's what's happening right now. So I'm feeling very empowered because this energy is something that I've tapped into in my chart, which is why I follow Venus. And I hope you guys were able to catch my important dates for 2025. That was a couple of videos ago. That outlines some very temporal energies that are coming our way based on the celestial mechanics of Venus, Mercury, and the coming eclipse in March. It's all sort of piling on 2 weeks in the middle of March, and that video is very important. There's a 3-minute version if you don't like the numbers and the calculations, and then there's an hour-long video where I talk all about it, so you guys should definitely check that out. Let's see, we have Ultimus Hastings here too, 5x5. Thank you, thank you. Have Bliss says, hi souls. All right. Lori's having a grandbaby in September. Oh, that's so wonderful. Oh, congratulations. I need to do a new baby life path reading for your grandbaby. Silvana B, hello all from Hervey Bay, Queensland. Hey, Silvana, hopefully you got everything hooked up. Athens said he sent you an email to get you signed up. Tap on the mic, please. Hopefully that'll help. Yeah. All right. Yeah, so this presentation, we're going to talk about Loosh. I'm going to get into why I wanted to talk about it. And then we are going to actually decode using numerology the word Loosh, concepts behind it, using the Scrabble cipher, the old game that we all used to play as kids on family night, where you get a tray of 7 letters and you have a 15 by 15 board game, and you get to take turns making letters, and whoever gets the highest points wins. So this is a fun game. Me and my mom play it all the time when we get together. And she's actually, well, she's very, very good at Scrabble. So she beats me all the time, and it's crazy, and she makes me a better player. So I enjoy playing with her. So that mic isn't on? Maybe. I don't know. Does it sound different? It wouldn't surprise me. Let me see if I can switch my mics. We were having some crazy technical difficulties prior to getting started. Oh, yeah, it's the computer. Let's see. It doesn't even recognize it, actually. Let me try something. Let me see if we can do it. If not, we can just use the computer audio. I guess that's fine. HDMI cam link. Here it is. Check. How's that sound? Does that sound different? Let me know, Ultimus. Either way, I see the microphone bar working. I just don't know if it is the right one. It says cam link. So, all right, let me first say that anybody that wants to have me answer any questions that are on your mind about astrology, about numbers, about Loosh, about anything, I would love to chat with y'all. Hopefully the presentation that I'm going to get into will spur some conversation, because it's very interesting, especially the story that I'm going to share with you. So you guys, we talked about this before solstice and before Christmas. We basically, I don't know what the deal is with this mic. Hopefully it doesn't sound bad. But right before Christmas, we went through a portal, right? We went through this sort of timeline shift. I showed you with the solstice and with the all that energy going through the galactic center, as well as that new moon we had right at the end of the year. There was this deep transformational energy that I really felt in a big way. The 7th house is where all that went through for me. And the 7th house, the number 7 is important tonight too. We're going to talk about that. I'm going to read to you about the number 7 from cosmicsugars.org. Decode Your Reality, Logan's website. I'm going to read that to you. But the 7th house is your house of projections. It is your relationships too. But when we are thinking of ourselves with an other, it is basically ourselves projected out onto that person, right? So anything that someone does that you are in love with, or anything that someone does that you can't stand, those emotions, one way or another, come from you, not from them, right? So there's a lot of projection energy out for me. I kind of put a part of myself that I didn't think I could do or accomplish. I put that outside of myself. and I chase it. That's sort of my pattern with the North Node and Ophiuchus in the 7th house and Neptune over there. A lot of it is my own sort of illusion. I'm very well aware of that, and I have my own ways of kind of working through that sort of stuff. But ever since like around the beginning of December, there was a drop in energy for me. Like the creative energy was just gone. Somehow I had put it outside of myself. And so I spent the most of the time after the eclipse and pretty much up until the last couple of weeks dealing with that, trying to revisit, go back. You guys have seen the compilation videos. It was almost like perfect timing for me to do that. And through that process, I realized that I was getting angrier and angrier because even though I was producing content for you guys, a lot of it has been rehashed. Stuff I've done before, just to keep you interested and keep you in line with what I'm trying to do. And then now all of a sudden, ever since I've been sick, there's this new energy coming forward. Okay. And it has to do with pulling back my creative power, focusing on what I need to do, what Spirit's telling me to do, the messages that are coming through from me, from Spirit for you guys. Okay. So all of that, coming through me, I need to tap into that. I need to not be projecting it outward. And what I found happening was that I was getting so angry at other people. I would, scroll through my YouTube feed and I would scroll through Facebook or the news feeds, and I would just get angry. Like, why is everybody putting all these horrible headlines out there? Saying that, oh, apocalypses are coming and, get ready for, this to happen or that to happen, just trying to scare people. Anytime we've got like new energy coming, there's always fear, right? So there's all this fear porn out there just to get clicks. And even in the spiritual community, heck, I'm even guilty of it sometimes too, because, we want your attention. We want your energy. And this, my friends, is the Loosh. So there I am having this sort of temper tantrum, right? Trying to figure out what is wrong with me. And so long story short, I figured all that out and I came up with the idea for the Loosh. So we're going to talk about it. We're going to dive deep into Loosh, like what it is, how to recognize when you're wasting it, good or bad, and how to use it for your own empowerment. So for me, it was just setting an intention, saying, no, this is my energy. I take it back. And the amount of energy that I gained from that was enormous. It was amazing. I feel pretty good. I have so much extra Loosh that I'm going to shower that all over you guys tonight with this presentation. So, all right, looks like we have 19 in the chat. So we're going to get into this. If you guys want to say hi, Diana Allen is here. Happy Wolf Moon. That's right. Tonight is our full moon, the Wolf Moon. I kind of broke down that moon a couple days ago, Thursday. That one was so much fun too. Oh, I love the wolf energy. This whole like Pluto opposing Mars and sun, moon, full moon. This is purging energy. This is internal purging energy. And I went through quite a purge over the last few days, just getting rid of things on my feed and subscriberships and all of these things that I was following, just clearing it out. I don't need the fear porn. I don't want it. I'm not going to participate. I don't care about lockdowns. I don't care about bird flus. I don't care about, EMPs. I don't care about solar flares. I'm just done with all of it. So I pulled back my energy so that I could create something beautiful, amazing, and mind-blowing for you guys. Okay. So let's see. Teresa's here with a smiley face and hearts. Feels like a hug. Love it. All right. Let's look at the sky. I'm going to share my screen. We'll look at the sky, and then we will dive into this presentation. I have a little bit of astrology, but it's related to the Scrabble Cipher decode. It'll be really, really interesting. Hopefully you guys will love it. Please put your questions in the chat. I can see you guys up here. I'm going to put you down here so I can just look. Seema Dragon's here. Hello, hola. All right. Let me share screen. All right, here is the sky. Here is that juicy Venus-Saturn conjunction right there in the stars of Aquarius, taking a shower together in the waters there. Amazing. This happens every so often. And I feel very powerful when this conjunction happens, no matter where it is. Natally, for me, it's in Gemini in the second house. So right now it's in my 10th house. And it actually trines my natal Saturn Venus. So this is a very strong and powerful time for me. I've been looking forward to it because I've been feeling incredibly drained and out of energy the last several weeks. But I'm feeling good tonight. We're going to have some fun. Okay. So there is Saturn and Venus. If you look to the other side of the sky, there's another cozy combination. We have Moon and Mars right there in line with Castor and Pollux of the constellation of Gemini. About to, like the moon, literally in 5 minutes, the moon's going to be in Cancer and not in Gemini. It's like right there at the very end. But we also have Sirius, the dog star of Canis Major, rising at the same time, at least in my skies. So this is really, really incredibly powerful energy. This is where my natal Venus and Saturn are together, right here next to star Sirius. Actually, if we want to be true to the sky, it's more like right here. Because Sirius is not in the ecliptic. So yeah, beautiful skies tonight. If you look a little bit further up, you can see Jupiter right next to the Pleiades. So you have Moon occulting Mars at the cusp of Gemini and Cancer, and then you've got Jupiter, midheaven, conjunct Aldebaran and the Pleiades. And then, of course, we have Saturn and Venus here in Aquarius. So beautiful skies. Go out and check out the sky. If you're up before sunrise, you can watch the moon setting. And that's also a very beautiful sight. So you guys look up, the sky is calling you. When you have a deep and farther perspective, all the little silly things that are going on in the world around you tend to take on a much, much smaller meaning. You become connected to the larger cosmos, the larger energy. And it can be quite profound when you can step back and just see how infinitely small you are in an infinitely vast universe. Your perspective changes. The things that tend to hit your triggers become a little bit less. All right, cool. Let's see. Brian Hardy says, right now, Venus is nearly overlapping with my natal retrograde Saturn 9th house. Yeah, so you've got a little Saturn-Venus combination. It's nice. It's really nice because that fierce creative power of Venus, if you give to Caesar what is Caesar's, which is Saturn, kind of do what you have to do here in this realm to provide and to provide security and to, learn the rules. Because once you become an expert, then you can break the rules. I've always wanted to break the rules early with all of my teachers. And when I had to go through medical training, that was one of the things that I really had to learn, was to sort of step in line to go through the hoops to become the expert, so that if there was something that I wanted to change, to bring in the art of medicine, I could do that. So same thing with everything. But this is a really nice combination because you can actually realize what you're an expert at. Nice. Okay. I have just a little PowerPoint for you. 73 slides. I could have kept going. I really could have. This was so much fun to put together. I mean, for me because God, you guys, I was so angry. Y'all don't know the shadow boxing that you do sometimes behind closed doors, because you just don't want to unleash that kind of anger on any innocent bystander or witness. And I pulled it back. And this is the result of that. So we're going to harvest our Loosh. What is Loosh? So if you guys know who Robert Monroe is, he was the founder of the Monroe Institute. He was also the one who taught about out-of-body experiences and hemisync and all that. So he coined this term, Loosh, and it's basically a word to describe the emotional energy generated by sentient beings during their experiences. So everything that we feel, right, from high vibration emotions such as like love and joy, to the low vibrations like fear and anger, like what I was feeling, Loosh is this sort of subtle substance. It's really, really valuable too, not only to us who make it when we are emotional, but there's also these energies called egregores. They're external entities. They're constructs. They don't actually have souls, that can utilize it or harvest it. And the reason is because it's so magnetic. Like if you think about how well like fear tactic videos do on YouTube and anywhere else, it's amazing. Like if it's got a headline of fear, it's more likely to be clicked because we like generating loosh. It feels really good to do it, whether it's grief and anger or joy and bliss. So this actually frames our personal emotions as more than a personal experience. It means that it's an energetic output that contributes to a larger metaphysical ecosystem, meaning that you have to be in control of your emotions if you want to use your own loosh to be the powerful creator that you are. So if you understand that the potential of your emotional energy, and you take control of it, like I did just the other night. And trust me, I'm still fairly new at this. You know, I try to take the middle path and be sort of unaffected and try to take the higher perspective. But some things just really upset me, especially when it comes to patient care and watching the system crumble around me and people have no idea what they're doing. And anyway, you know, I won't go into it. But instead of unconsciously reacting, say, look at that reaction. Where in the world did that come from? You know, because that is some powerful energy. So seeing it as energetic currency and reclaiming it is how you begin to master it as a powerful resource. So all it was an intention. It was an awareness and then an intention. It was like, yes, this is here. And holy smokes, what does this mean? What lesson can I learn from this? Okay. And that's the beauty of it. So if we're at a concert, if we're praying with a group of people, if we're fighting with somebody and we're feeling emotions, we're creating this loosh. And because of how it vibrates, right? There's vibrational frequencies to thought forms and emotions. There are other thought forms out there that kind of already have a self-organizing energy. They're not sentient like you and I, but they're a collection of polarized ether that your thought forms will be attracted to. And because you're thinking them and rippling them outward, these soulless thought form entities will be attracted to you. Okay, so what does this mean? These things are basically called egregores. And Vladimir Zeland talks about egregores in his book, Reality Transurfing. It's a Russian guy, and he basically channeled all this. And egregores are basically these collective thought forms, and they become energetic, and they're sustained by the shared focus, emotions, and intentions of a group, right? So what might be an egregore? Well, YouTube is a freaking egregore, okay? We use it. It draws us in with its flashy headlines and its beautiful videos, and we come to it and we give it our energy by putting our eyeballs on it for however many hours you spend on YouTube. I used to spend hours a day on YouTube. I mean, all that mental energy and attention going into this shared egregore. YouTube doesn't have a soul. It just has, the shared thoughts and emotions of a larger collective. Okay. And so churches are like this, religions are like this, clubs are like this. All right. And so they can take on a life of their own, or so seemingly, and they will influence the thoughts and behaviors of the group that created them because they need your loose to survive. These are what we would call the energy vampires in some sense. Actually, you guys, I'm doing a talk on Friday. I'm going to have a couple of guests that have been on my channel before, Roan Bright and Jeffrey Kemke. We're going to talk about energy vampires. So I just wanted to plug that for you guys. I haven't written up anything yet, but hopefully you guys can join us on Friday, because I'm going to dive deeper into the idea of an energy vampire, because it sounds like something that's attacking you or victimizing you, when it can be really as harmless and as neutral as like YouTube or Facebook or Twitter. It's just the thing, and it takes your energy, it pulls your creative energy away from you. So they thrive on emotional energies such as devotion, fear, and enthusiasm, and it strengthens their presence and magnetizes more people to it. So politics is also an egregore, a collective passion, fandom. Okay, I might even be a small egregore, attracting others like me to my own circle of influence. But egregores can be good; they're not all bad. And you can actually use these larger collections of thought forms for your own purpose, because what you give to the egregore is actually up to you, but it is a conscious process, and you have to check yourself all the time, because I was caught unaware, like obsessing over certain things. Like, what am I doing? I'm giving my energy to something that doesn't really matter if you think about it in the larger scheme of things. So if we can understand these entities, like politics, like the right, the left, Donald Trump, Kamala Harris, Joe Biden, all these people, their energy around them, they're egregores. And so if we recognize where our emotional energy is going and we have that awareness, then we are empowered to choose whether to sustain, transform, disengage, or whatever we want to do. And so that's exactly what I did. When I started seeing things for lockdowns, bird flu, and vaccines and travel restrictions again, when I started seeing that stuff pop up, I immediately said, hell no, I'm not playing this game again. I'm not giving it any of my attention. I'm going to keep going on my own merry, positive way. And so hopefully you guys liked the intro that I put together for you on this video. These are just some examples of, the stuff that's like all over. I have actually a pretty good YouTube feed because I try not to watch the fear stuff, but you can see it. It's all about the fires. Just if it bleeds, it leads, used to be the saying of journalists. Here's some more. I thought this was funny. Menopausal rage. I was like, oh yeah, I've been there, done that. It's funny how YouTube kind of knows what I'm going through. Look, weather. They get you with weather too. I almost think that wherever they decide to send that guy, Jim Cantori from the Weather Channel, is where they want us to manifest a hurricane or some catastrophic storm. And then all these conspiracy theories and all this stuff. And then you look at, the right versus the left headlines, and you're just like, it's bullshit. It's just trying to pull your loosh. Come give me your loosh so that I can give you that hit, that thrill of fear, that thrill of anger. And here's the other side. So just to show you that they both do it, both of them talk smack about each other, and they want us to get involved. Same thing with sports teams, and I'm not saying they're all bad, right? So like we create these egregores. Obviously we create them. They're here because we need them in some way. Otherwise we wouldn't have created them. It's just a matter of not letting them take on a life of their own, or to anthropomorphize them in such a way that they have a soul, or that they're out to get you. Okay. That's a really important point that I want to make, is that, yes, you can read the headlines and you can, at the end of the day, walk away thinking, damn, there's controllers out there. They're trying to tell me what to do. I'm a victim. I have no power. I have no control. That's exactly what you created, so that you didn't have to take responsibility for creating these egregores. I'm sorry, but this is Saturn energy coming through right now. The teacher, right? We created these egregores, so we are responsible for them. We can destroy the egregores, you guys. What do you mean you can just, yes, you can destroy them. We could all decide tomorrow that we are not going to get on YouTube anymore. And we are going to start reading books, playing games with our families, and taking walks in the park and going hiking instead of looking at our stupid phone. And can I tell you that if, 2 billion people decided that that was what they wanted to do tomorrow, that YouTube would be gone. Okay. So we can do this. It just depends on like how many people want it and how badly do they want it. And sometimes it takes things like catastrophes, apocalypses, resets in order for the collective desire to destroy certain harmful egregores that no longer serve the collective. Okay, so we have the power. We can actually turn our attention. This is what this picture depicts. These humans are turning their backs to this egregore and it's disintegrating. And we can also consciously work with egregores. So this is you sitting with your energy, with your loosh, within your own electromagnetic field, within your own toroidal field. The nagas are out there, the universe, the chaos, it's all surrounding you. But within your sphere is your reality that you create with your own loosh. Okay. And other thought forms, other egregores, other sort of polarized congregations, soulless congregations of energy that we put so much thought and attention to, we can use them. We can say, okay, we are using the YouTube egregore right now to communicate, to teach, to learn with each other, right? And each time we encounter each other, we're better for that, right? So you've learned a little bit of wisdom, and then I've, maybe bumped my subscribership up, or maybe I learned a new something with technology or with the graphics. Okay, so there can be a benefit. There can be a beneficial exchange of energy with an egregore. It just depends on how you use it. It's like anything. So that's basically egregores and loosh. It's very simple. We're gonna do a little decode here. It's like 60 slides, but it should go by pretty quick because I just kind of build upon each theme. But let me just pause this video and we'll check in and see how you guys are doing. Let's see. What do you guys feel about that? Let's see. All right. H Rains, greeting squad, just tuning in. Welcome. Brian Hardy refinanced his car. That's good. Take control. We love PowerPoints. Yeah, they're fun, right? They're really flexible, especially for the decodes because you can copy the previous slide. Oh, Desiree's here. Hello, my dear. So good to see you. You've been listening while driving. Love all this info you're sharing. I've not heard the term loosh, but I know of it and its use. Seema Dragon says, awesome imagery, Danny. Yeah, it's Chat GPT. It's AI. AI is a loosh. AI, I mean, a egregore, right? Some are fearing it. Some are obsessing over it. And some are using it. I'm using it. It helps me. So let's see. Brian says, you first learned about loosh and egregores from Matt, the quantum of consciousness. Very different from the usual truther. Well, who's a usual truther anyway? I mean, it's just some of us are braver than others to step in and talk about it. All right. Oh, Brian, that's so nice. Brian says, I feel like Dr. Danny's egregore would look so beautiful. There aren't many of us who tune in, but we're all here with the best, highest vibes. What you say is so true. The people that follow me and come to these live sessions are all so high vibrational. Y'all are just a beautiful bunch of people. And I'm so grateful that you're here and on this crazy journey with me. I mean, this is amazing. What an amazing time to be alive where we can actually connect like this. Celtic Thistle Psychics is hi all. There's an 8. Phoenix 138 says, what is loosh? It's your emotional energy I think that's probably the best way to put it in a one sentence format. It's your emotional energy. It's anything but neutrality, right? H. Rain says, I think I once heard that Santa is an egregore. Well, yeah, Santa would probably be an egregore, right? Santa's coming. Everybody's getting excited. Good, good. Yep. E. Green says AI is a tool or a weapon. How you use it, interact with it, it's like a butter knife. Yeah, butter knives can be pretty darn dangerous, for sure. Cool. Well, we have 38 in the chat, and we are just getting to the fun part of this presentation. Hopefully, this will blow your mind. I'm going to go step by step for those of you that don't usually watch decodes, and thanks for sticking with me. I'm having so much fun doing these. It's like I'm so focused, and it's passes a whole bunch of time where I otherwise might be bored or twiddling my thumbs or feeling anxious. And I have more of a sense of calm about me since doing this numerology and the cards and the decoding and the alchemy. So I have Logan of Decode Your Reality to thank for that. And a lot of what I'm going to go through in this decode is from his methodology and technique. So definitely check out his channel if you haven't been there already. But I'm still, I would call myself a beginner. So hopefully you'll bear with me. But I do want to read to you real quick before we get into the PowerPoint. I want to read to you the numerology of the number 7 and the number 8 so that when we're going through the decode, you are with me on the vibrational energy of these numbers and why the story that I'm going to put together for you is actually pretty cool. So, all right. So the number 7, you're going to get this from cosmicsugar.org. 7 says, I am the seeker of truth, journeying through mysteries to find wisdom I can critique. The number 7 is connected to Venus, the planet that governs love, beauty, and harmony. And its influence on both the sign of Libra and the color violet enriches the association. Venus is the ruler of Libra, sort of, the 7th sign of the zodiac, symbolizing balance, fairness, and relational harmony. There's a quest for equilibrium that reflects the deeper spiritual and aesthetic qualities that the number 7 embodies, often seen as a number of spiritual insight and connection in numerology. The color violet, a high-frequency color on the visible spectrum, resonates with the qualities of Venus and the number 7, both symbolizing transcendence, intuition, and refinement. This link between Venus, Libra, and Violet suggests a journey towards inner and outer beauty, spiritual elevation, and the harmonious blending of the material and ethereal worlds. So there's assets and liabilities for this number. The assets for number 7 are intellectual pursuits, crown chakra type energy. So seeking truth and wisdom, intuition, inner growth. This is a thoughtful and observant vibration. There's a unique ability to see beyond the surface and uncover hidden meaning with 7s. And so if you caught the story that I told you at the beginning, the 7 energy was what I've been going through the last several weeks, this going inward, this inner growth. And hopefully you guys will see that in the coming weeks with the content that's going to be coming out. So we value knowledge and anything that requires analysis, research, and an understanding of complex ideas. So the liabilities might seem like someone is withdrawn, difficult to connect with emotionally, right? So that middle path, that path of neutrality can seem indecisive, where from the perspective of the one with the higher perspective, that's all it is. It's just a higher perspective. There's no good or bad. There's no judging. There can be detachment and alienation and preference to solitude. Oh my gosh, I've been by myself a lot the last few weeks, really doing some inner work, and even, I would say, some over critical thinking. Okay, so that's 7. That's beautiful. That's a great way to think about this number. And we're going to see a lot of sevens in this decode. And then the number 8. Now, 8 is associated with the 8th house, Scorpio, Pluto energy. Very appropriate since we've got, Mars and Moon opposite Sun and Pluto to think about this 8th house energy. But if you look at the number 8, it also is the symbol of infinity. If you turn it, it's the energy that's in a toroidal field. So if you take an 8, lay it sideways, and then spin it like a spinner, you have a toroidal field. You have the space in which electromagnetic frequencies, their vectors can travel along this space. And so they basically follow the shape of the toroid and spin at the same time. So they go through it and around it. That's how Loosh flows around a human. That's our electromagnetic field. So when we think of the number 8, it would follow that it's associated with transformation, power, and regeneration tied to the planet Pluto and the zodiac sign Scorpio, and also Ophiuchus, the serpent bearer, the higher vibrational frequency of Scorpio. And also because Mars used to rule Scorpio, there's a duality in this energy as well. There is the dynamic and assertive energy of Mars, but also that deep and probing and penetrating energy, the mystical energy and spiritual transformation of Pluto as well. The asset of this number is the ability to be an expert, to be there's a strong drive to accomplish goals towards building wealth and security. So it has an opposition to second house type energy, which is earth and things, whereas the 8th house is the spiritual matter and control. So this opposition creates, you can see this tension with the 8, right? It's pulling to two different sides. You've got on one side the physical and on the other side the spiritual. So 8 energy can insert itself into crises. So that's a liability of the number 8. But overall, very powerful and transformative energy, and associated with frequency as well. So that's it, 7 and 8. Let's go ahead and dive back into PowerPoint and do this decode. So we'll hide that. Okay, Loosh. Brought to you by Scrabble, the number 8, and electromagnetic fields. You guys remember Sesame Street, right? Okay, so with any decode or with any idea that you want to run through all the different numerology ciphers, I always just start with the Chaldean one. I put Loosh in there, and I got the number 25. This you can get on dakota.co. And it has all the different ciphers out there. Chaldean numerology only goes up to the number 8. And the way that the letters are numbered is based on the way the letter sounds, from what I understand. So there's a phonetic vibration to each of these letters. And when they have the same number, the idea is that those phonetic vibrations are similar. So all the ones would have, I guess, a similar phonetic vibration. And so that's where they get their assignment from. And don't quote me on this because I am definitely not an expert on where this comes from. This is just highly recommended by Logan, who's a master decoder. So Loosh is 25. And there's so many different ways you can go with this, okay? You can go to tarot and see which card is the 25th card. You can go to the deck of cards and see which, through the all the 4 suits and see which one is the number 25. You can also go to the periodic table. So I like the alchemology. I think that's pretty cool. If you go to the Royal Chemistry Society, they have a periodic table there. And the number 25 is associated with the element manganese. And when you read about manganese and you look at the picture, it's about magnese. Okay, so to be able to magnify or to pull something towards you. And this is what we're talking about. We're talking about Loosh. So that's a picture of a magnet right there. And when we talk about electromagnetic fields of energy, the field that surrounds us, our aura, that's the magnetic energy. That's where those electromagnetic energy and thought forms travel. So I was like, okay, let me just put that aside. And I I was going through my phone and I saw a little video of a Scrabble game that my mom and I had played. And I realized that the game Scrabble actually has a numerology cipher in it. And so I geeked out on that for a second. I grabbed my Scrabble box and I put the letters out and I got A through Z and I laid them out. And I was like, okay, yes, this is very much a numerology cipher. And it's interesting because you have 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 5, but you don't have 6 and 7. You have 8, but you don't have 9. Okay, we're going to get into the history of Scrabble, where the game came from. We're gonna play with this just a little bit to see what kind of energy, what kind of synchronicities this particular key or cipher unlocks for us when we're looking at the concept of Loosh. So if you take Loosh and you spell it out with Scrabble letters, you get the number 8. Wow. Okay. So that's fun. So now we have the number 25, which if you add 2 and 5 together, you get the number 7. So we're working with 7s and we're working with 8s. And like I said, this is a torus field. You turn this sideways and you spin it. You've got that sort of donut-shaped toroidal field where energy and thought forms flow in a spiral and circular manner. Just like this. So these are our electromagnetic fields. And whenever we interact with someone, our Loosh is traveling along these field lines. And so if an egregore comes along and is pulling our resonant vibrations toward it, it's going to magnetize itself to us. And we can have these entities glomming onto our field. Okay, these are these egregores, and this is your Loosh. And it's powered by your heart and your mind, your thoughts and your emotions, your thoughts and your feelings. Okay, so that's so important. You know, when we're looking at this and we're trying to see what's coming through for us, we can see that it's all about energy. It's all about frequency. And it just so happens that if you take EMF in the Scrabble cipher and add it up, you get 8. So electromagnetic frequency and Loosh are basically the same thing, represented by the number 8. So I'd like to digress with you a bit and take you on the Scrabble journey. What does the Scrabble cipher tell us? And is it related at all to Loosh in any way? And this is the standard Wikipedia history that you're going to get. The original creator of the game was Alfred Mosher Butts, and he created a similar game called Lexico, which we'll look at too. And the way that the cipher came about was by looking at books and newspapers and counting how often each letter was used in the English language. So basically what this means is that anything that's a 1, you're going to see a whole lot more than anything that's a 10. So A, I, E, all the vowels, you're going to see those more often than you see Q's or X's or Z's. And so it's a frequency of occurrence. So there's a frequency in how often the letters are used, which is pretty cool. It's sort of a temporal way to look at, or a probability, almost like the quantum foam. Like the probability of an A is very high, so the points are low, or the probability of a Q is very low, so the points are high. Okay, and that's how he did it, using the English language. The original name of this game was called Crisscross Words, but he couldn't sell it. It wasn't a very catchy name. So in 1948, a lawyer named James Bruneau bought the rights to make the game. Bruneau made some of the rules easier and changed the name to Scrabble. And Scrabble means to scratch around frantically. And isn't that what we do with our Loosh, right? Whenever we get too emotional and we start reacting, we scratch around frantically. We search for headlines to give us a hit, or we search for knowledge to soothe our minds, our buzzing brains, you know. After that, it became popularized and probably in every single household. So let's decode this a little bit, because there's some interesting connections here. So Alfred Mosher Butts was born on April 13th in 1899 in Poughkeepsie, New York. Here is his chart. Now, I may not have the birth time right, But I did want to bring in some astrology and just take a quick gander at his birth chart. We could potentially use the houses here and say, wow, it's pretty synchronous that the exact moment you ran his chart, which was for me 10:50 in the morning or 9:50 in the morning, there was Gemini rising. Gemini right there on the ascendant. Gemini is ruled by Mercury. Mercury is the energy of communication, of thought, of words, of codes, of ciphers, code breaking, things like that. And what's so interesting about Alfred Butz's um, Mercury is that it's conjunct his sun in a superior or an inferior conjunction. In other words, he's got a retrograde Mercury conjunct the sun. This means this guy's mind worked differently than anyone else. Alfred Butz was probably a code breaker. He was probably someone that saw patterns in newspaper prints and feeds and couldn't help himself. Okay, because of his Mercury and Sun conjunction, just like they were. Now we could say, all right, it's pretty lucky that that's in his 10th house because that's his legacy. That's what he's remembered for creating this game. So I just thought that was really, really interesting to see that. He's also got a lot of heavy energy over here at the Galactic Center, meaning that, knowledge. So whenever I see Saturn and Ophiuchus, I see Christ teaching the disciples. And so almost like someone who has this code, who has this gnosis, and just because of his positions is able to manifest that in a game that affects almost every human being. So April 13th is the 103rd day of the year. And there were 260 days remaining until the end of the year when this man was born. April 13th is the 103rd day of the year, which is a prime number. Okay, so prime numbers are super interesting. If you go to numberempire.com and you type in 103, you're going to get this information, the 27th prime. And the 27th prime is associated with cobalt. Now, cobalt is derived from the German word for Gobald, meaning goblin. Okay, and so what you'll see in the image here that the Royal Chemistry Society created for cobalt was an image of this goblin. And the goblin, or the kobold, was accused of leading German miners astray in their search for tin. Okay, so there's this energy, there's this egregore leading German miners astray called the kobold or a goblin. And goblin, using the Scrabble cipher, is 8. Because it is a energy that is soulless, that is trying to pull your attention away. That's a goblin, 27 in cobalt. But since this definition mentioned tin, I thought I'd look and see what the tin energy was all about. Now, tin is atomic number 50, but look at that image. Doesn't that sort of look like an 8? Doesn't it look like a toroidal field? Doesn't it maybe also look like our north and south node? Rahu and Ketu, just a little bit. Our destiny points. The north node being what we're striving for, what we're hungry for in this life. And the south node being sort of what we're cool and what we're spiritual with. So you have north and south node here. They're often called Rahu and Ketu in Vedic astrology. So if we take those and put them into the Scrabble cipher, we get the numbers 7 and 8. Rahu is 7 and Ketu is 8. And then, so you add 8 and 7 together. So here we've got this, remember that projection energy, the partnership energy, and then the energy of the toroidal field, which is what we're doing here when we're learning about Loosh and the egregore. How do we interact with it? And we get the number 15, which is really, really amazing and interesting. This hopefully will make you laugh or giggle inside of yourself, just how insanely connected all this is. Because when we go to the next slide, we see that the Scrabble board is 15 by 15. Okay? You can't make this stuff up. This is an amazing connection. This is just a synchronicity. Instead of you having to wait for synchronicities come to you, if you follow decodes like this and you understand what I'm showing you, I'm bringing you the synchronicities. I'm bringing them to you on a golden platter, like served with wine. This is so incredible. This is also the devil card. in our tarot deck. And if you look at the devil card, just glance at the devil with me real quick here. What you're going to see, and Desiree, you should love this. You've got this egregore here that is got these humans bound by whatever it is that they're bound to, addiction, fear, control, manipulation, doing the bidding of this egregore. And then what you'll notice is that around their necks is this chain that's really, really loose. Like they could literally take this off of their neck and walk away and run away from it. So there's that. This is also phosphorus, which is associated with the devil, the bringer of light. So we're going really deep there, but if we take 15 by 15, which is the number of squares, we get 225. 225 is the 1070th decimal digit of pi. And if you add up the numbers of 107, you get 8. Okay, so it all comes back to 8. And this is just the game Scrabble. This is just this guy's birthday. It gets even better. Like if you look at this, his birth card is the 8 of diamonds. You can go to this. This is on Cosmic Sugar under resources. You can look at his birthday, which is April 13th, and it's the 8 of diamonds. So even his birthday is an 8. An 8 card. So we'll put that there for a second. 8 of diamonds is the 8 of pentacles in the tarot. The tarot card, 8 of pentacles, is number 71 in the tarot deck. And when you add 7 and 1 together, you get 8. The Taurus field, here we are again. So this man's energy, just his birthday and his game, are so connected to the numbers 7 and 8. Now, he created a little game before this. There was a precursor to Scrabble, to crisscross words, called Lexico. And if you take Lexico and you put Lexico into the Scrabble cipher, you get these numbers here. And that equals 17, which reduces to the number 8. I could rest my case here probably, but there's so much more. Now, the guy that he sold the rights to, James Bruno, was born on July 24th of 1902. And so he was the one who patented the game and coined the name Scrabble, which means to scratch around frantically. So this is his birth chart. And again, I don't have the time, so I'm not sure if any of this is correct in terms of where everything is in the circle. But the positions are what they are. So he is an Aquarius moon. He is a Cancer sun. I don't know if the houses are accurate. But I find it pretty serendipitous that his Gemini is like 10th house. I just think that's super interesting. Just randomly when I generated this chart at 10 o'clock in the morning, my time. And look what's up there. You got Venus and Mars. And this is actually the Milky Way nodes right here. The Milky Way crosses our zodiac ecliptic on these 2 points. It's kind of like the north and south node of the moon, but the galaxy, the outer bands of the galaxy are here and the inner bands are here. So once again, there's this kind of this polarity of wisdom and knowledge. And Neptune, the cosmic shaman of our zodiac, is right there with Venus and Mars in the house of knowledge, in the house of education, learning, code breaking. So this person was probably also a code breaker. And what's interesting about his Venus or his Sun and Mercury is Mercury's another conjunction, but his Mercury's direct. So if you look back at Alfred Butz's chart, his Mercury's retrograde, but they have 2 conjunctions. So this highlights the difference between the 2 types of conjunctions you can get with Mercury. So I find that super interesting. And his Uranus is down here in Ophiuchus in the serendipitous 3rd house that I chose, which is about channeling cosmic knowledge. So these two guys were code breakers. They understood each other. They understood the energy of having a value placed on letters and turning it into a game. Because isn't that what we're all playing, right? So his birthday is the 4 of clubs, which is the 17th card in the deck. And 17 reduces to what? You guys should know this by now, is 8. It also corresponds to the 4 of wands in the tarot deck, which is 25. That goes to 7. It also goes back to manganese and Loosh and Chaldean numerology, because the 2-5 is the 7, and it's magnetic. There's a partnership here, working with the frequency of these letters. Now, on December 1st, this is another very important date for Scrabble. James Bruno copyrighted the famous spelling of the name Scrabble. And on that date, the card for that date is the 4 of diamonds, which is the 30. Okay. Where have we seen 30? Well, we haven't seen 30 yet. I'm introducing a new element to this. But what I thought was so interesting about the element of zinc is if you look at the picture of it that the Royal Chemistry Society decided was important, that looks like magnetic field lines to me. That looks like EM radiation, doesn't it? Which is the 8, which is that Taurus field that we've been talking about, which is where our Loosh is carried and how it is exchanged. Okay, so now, let's see, yeah, we're here. December 1st is the 336th day of the year, and on that day, there were 30 days remaining until the end of the year. So wow, there's the 30 again. I mean, how synchronous is that? That's just amazing to me. I mean, we might be going a little deep and cherry picking here, but I just think it's really, really interesting, because you can do the same treatment with this number that we did with 225, put it into the decimal string of pi, and it becomes the 503rd number, which hopefully you guys are getting really good by now at reducing it to the number 8. And so maybe I'm kind of beating a dead horse here with this 8, but it gets even better. So let's go back to the concept of Loosh and the electromagnetic fields and talk about Robert Monroe, the one who made up the word Loosh. Okay. His birthday was October 30th of 1915. He was born in Indiana. And here's his astrology chart. So looks like there's someone in the chat named Leah who wants to know about astrology. Well, it's right here, my dear. We're doing astrology along with other decoding mechanisms to just be aghast and a wonder at how connected everything in our universe is. And so hopefully you're enjoying it. It is a little bit different than what I have been doing in the past, but this stuff is fascinating to me. So when we look at James Monroe's chart, wow. Okay. So we have, again, I don't know the time, but again, serendipitously at 10:04 in the morning, look at where his Ophiuchus is. His serpent bearer, it's right there on his ascendant. So he's teaching us methods and technologies to manage our frequencies, to manage our Loosh, to help ourselves work through energies in a non-reactive and conscious way. And he was groundbreaking. Uranus is conjunct his north node, his Rahu, giving him that drive to do something different and unique. In Capricorn, where you strive and you create new structures that help people. And so this guy amazingly is tied to frequency just simply because of this placement right here with Uranus conjunct his north node. Now his Mercury is stationing direct in Virgo, which is the traditional rulership for Mercury, but is in his 10th house. So he was a communicator. And again, this is just sort of the synchronous 10th house. I don't know if it really is his 10th house or not. And then he's got Venus in Libra, which is that 7th house energy, right? That creating from a higher perspective. So all of that's super interesting. And then finally, he's got Pluto in Gemini. Now, these people are deep, deep code breakers, deep, deep truth seekers. So very, very interesting all the way around. Let's take a look at his numerology because it ties into all of this. It's really amazing. I think we've got maybe like 10 more slides. It'll go quick. His birth card is the 5 of Hearts. The 5 of Hearts. Now, if you guys haven't seen this, this is called the card spread configuration. You get the master life configuration and you get the spirit configuration. You put those two together. This is available on cosmicsugar.org. You take the birth card and you put it on the right side. You find the space. And what I found really interesting about where it was is if you take the Saturn line and the Venus line, you get that 5 of Hearts. And we've been talking about Saturn and Venus. And so it's connected to the very sky that we're working with right now. And shouldn't it be synchronous and interesting that someone that works with spiritual technologies, that he would be speaking to us through a PowerPoint on a day when Venus and Saturn are conjunct through his 5 of Hearts card. I just find that so fascinating. If you take it over to the spirit spread, it has an equitable card of the 4 of Diamonds. If you look at this Venus and Saturn line. So we've seen this 4 of Diamonds before, haven't we? Right? It's card number 30, right? Tying into zinc, where that electromagnetic field lines are so evident in that picture. So there we have that. And don't forget that Robert Monroe was all about frequency, which is what this whole talk has been about. Even the synchronicities that we're uncovering through the numerology and the cards and the energy of egregores and Loosh, it's all about your frequency. So if we take frequency through the Scrabble cipher, we get 26. And again, you guys probably know every single which way to reduce to number 8. And there you have it. Okay, so that was where I was going to stop. But then I thought I'd do a quick little encore with this decode by just throwing some numbers and dates around and seeing what you guys think about that. And then we'll be done with the decode. So what you have here is Alfred Butts' birthday, the day in the year. So it's the 103rd day with 262 days remaining, and it's week 15. Here you've got James Bruno on July 24th of 1902. The 205th day of the year with 160 days remaining, week 30 of that year. Then you have Robert Monroe, 10/30 of 1915, the 303rd day, 62 days remaining, week 43. And then we have the day that Scrabble was coined. So we've already seen all of these dates. I just wanted to bring them together to you, pull them all together into one slide to show you how they're all connected, because this is really the coup de grace. This is the sort of the climax of this presentation. You can calculate using Date and Time and other websites the number of days between dates. And so I did that. I took Alfred Butts' birthday and the day Scrabble was coined, and we calculated 18,129 days between those 2 days. I did the same thing between the 2 gentlemen's birthdays and between James Bruno and the day that Scrabble was coined. So 16,932 days between James Bruno's birthday and the day Scrabble was coined, and 1,197 between the 2 gentlemen's birthdays. Okay, so that just so you know where we got those numbers. And what you can do with those numbers is add them up. And I got 36,258. You can reduce this large number down to the number 25, which reduces down to 7, which takes us all the way back to the beginning, to the manganese, to the Loosh in Chaldean numerology and magnetism. He was also born on the 15th week, which is associated with the 15 by 15 Scrabble board square. So, okay, so this man is just deeply connected to the code of Scrabble. Here, we can take the 205th day and reduce that to 7, as well as the 49th week and reduce that to 7. They both, week 30 and 30 days remaining, brings us to the zinc, which is the electro. So here's the electromagnetism. This is the 7, the partnerships between these 2 men, creating this cipher. And then we don't want to forget Robert Monroe, because he has 62 days remaining, which reduces to 8, in week 43, which reduces to 7. So here we are coming full circle. We can also take the number weeks and add those together, and we get 137. 137 is the inverse of the fine structure constant and also associated with barium, but that is another story. So we'll get into, you can keep going with these, but this is where I for sure had to stop. So I thank you so much for your attention. That is the presentation on Loosh, my decode connecting this Scrabble cipher. I hope this was fun for you. It wasn't meant to be too serious. It was meant to show you that you can indeed, channel your feelings, your energies, your emotions into something creative, into something that inspires you. And that's exactly what I did. And so I'm so sorry if none of that resonated with you or if you were here for just astrology, but this is my process too. And so I wanted to share that with all of you. So hopefully you guys enjoyed that. Let me know how you feel about it. If you guys want to ask me some questions, we can do a little bit of that. Lori pointed out it is not too late to join Stellar Foundations. We are going to start in a week. So if you guys want to get in on that, do follow that link. Yeah. Otherwise, I have links below. So if you need a reading and you guys want to work with me. That wasn't too bad, right, Brian? Wasn't too long. He asked me how long it took to make the presentation. I don't know. It was probably hours, but it was the funnest hours of my week, I can assure you. I'm just kind of a numbers nerd. Let's see. Dr. Kelly Davis, her birthday is 8/18, Leo sun, strength card. Oh, yeah. Thanks for bringing that up, Leah. The strength card in the tarot deck is the 8th card. And if you look at it, I'm going to show you guys this card. I'm going to share my screen in a second, but let me pull it up. Let's open it with. Yeah, if you look at the picture, it is a woman with her hands in the jaws of a mighty beast, lion creature. And above her head is the infinity symbol. So I'm pulling that up. I'm going to show you guys. Right here. Hopefully y'all can see that. So there's the 8 above her head. Yeah, and this card is associated with the sun, Leo the lion, 5th house energy, heart energy. She's all heart. I believe the only other card that has the infinity symbol is the magician. So there's the other 8. And to me, this just sort of confirms and symbolizes, yeah, we are the magicians because we have control over our elements and we don't have to fear anything. We can look at those headlines and laugh because it's, basically a joke, like, come on, bird flu. Who's going to fall for that again? I'm not. You guys are saying some butt jokes. Yeah, that's an unfortunate name. We have a grocery store here called HEB, and it's the initials for Harold E. Butts. So fun. Cool. Oh, yeah. Lori also brings up another good point, too. The Fellowship of 13 Signs on Facebook. You guys should check that out. You can join us. And we post there. There's people posting there every day. People that are rising stars with YouTube channels. You can get to know other people in the community. It's really good. Yeah. Cool. Desiree, you're saying, let's see. You're saying something about the Golden Dawn switch the 8th and the 11th card. So does that mean that the Strength card was the 11th card before the Golden Dawn? And Justice is the 8th? Okay. All right. Leah says, where are you from? Um, hmm, that's a good question. I don't feel like I'm from here. Definitely from some other place. But where was I born? I was born in North Carolina, and I grew up in Maryland mostly. And then I slowly moved my way back south over the years, and I now live in Texas. So a lot of different places. When I get around my friends from high school, or if I go to Maryland and get around a bunch of Marylanders, then that sort of Northeastern accent will come out. If I'm in North Carolina with a bunch of my Southern friends, and I have a little bit of a Southern um, draw to it, it's weird. All right. H. Rain says, great work. I needed a reminder to channel my emotional energy into creative power instead of suffering. 100%. That's my whole message for this. Just kind of a fun way to relay to you that the emotions that you're feeling, there are things out there that want it. They want that emotional energy so bad. And so if you are giving your emotional energy to something that really absolutely has nothing to do with you, you are wasting your loosh. You and you just, if you can have that awareness and you set the intention to bring that back to yourself, you can absolutely become so powerful and unaffected. Unaffected. That's the key. Because you guys, I mean, I hate to say it, but we bought into COVID. We all signed up for it because we paid attention to it. There were many that didn't. And those people, when they tell their stories, they will tell you that they never put on a mask, that they never had to get a vaccine. They traveled everywhere they wanted, and it basically didn't affect them. Okay, because they gave it no mind, because they were that powerful enough before anybody else woke up to the whole shenanigans. You know, they were powerful enough to affect their own reality bubble that way by saying, no, I'm not going to play this game. And there is a lot of energetics coming towards us in the next few months. It's starting to pick up the energy of Venus and Mercury, that eclipse that's coming in March. This is a huge wave. Like if we're all surfers and we're all hanging out, waiting for that big wave to ride in, and you're looking at the shore and I'm looking out, I'm saying, friend, there is a huge wave coming. I'm asking all of you to look at it. And it's mid-March. And when I did that important dates presentation, that's what we were focusing on. And my concern is that that will be a time used by others who know how to use their own loosh and their own egregores that they've created to influence you, to get you to make decisions that are not in your best interest, that are not to serve you, that are only to serve that energy. And so I want you to be ready. I want you to stay focused on what is uniquely you, so that when that wave of energy comes, you can stand there like that lion, like that. You can just put your hands in the jaws of death. You're not going to get bit. You'll be fine. In fact, you can even use it for your own benefit. So those are my thoughts. That's my rant. Brian asks, while I listened, I did a really crude job of wire wrapping a nice blue adventurine. Now you have a new necklace. Awesome. So your necklace will have the vibes of my voice and that decode and the number 7 and 8. Do I feel energized or tired after a live stream? I always feel energized, no matter how much sleep I've had after coming on and talking to you guys, because it's something that comes through that's using me as a messenger, as a voice. H. Rain says, lately I had felt like I was something I know I'm not. So interested in calling my power back now. Yes, it's exactly what I was experiencing. I was getting frustrated that others were not doing what I expected them to do, which is the stupidest thing you can do. I mean, it's so dumb. Like you can't ever expect anybody to do anything. And you got to laugh and just observe whatever it is they do and not react. Desiree says some people will actually try to trigger you and to feed on your energy. Yeah, they do it, but I wonder, they're doing it from a different place, because if you think about whenever it is you try to control people, and we all try to do that, don't we? We all try to control people at some point. Whenever we try to do that and we run up against frustration, we try things, right, to get their attention, like, hey, look at me, hello, I'm over here, look over here. And it may seem like a control tactic or a manipulative tactic, but it's not. It's something that that person needs because they're not getting it within themselves. I hope that makes sense. Nature's Place says unvaxxed holds the line from Canada. Yeah, they're going to try to offer it to you. And everything in egregore offers you, it comes with the caveat of consent. Okay. So if you get angry and you try to fight it, you are still consenting to exchange energy with it. So you can't even get angry at it. You literally have to just kind of let it be what it is. Yeah. Yeah, the eclipse points, Brian. The 6th was the eclipse point for the coming eclipse. And there were fires. So, fires. Okay, so that's a Plutonian event, right? The destruction, the burning, the clearing away. And we have to look at Plutonian events as happening for us, not to us. And it's hard to tell someone that's in the middle of a Plutonian event, this is happening for you. But when we look at it, especially if we're only tangentially involved by watching it, we cannot make that our journey. We can watch it and notice that it's happening, but we're not the victims in that. That's not happening to or for us. It's happening to and for those people. And that's where we have to have those boundaries, that separation. It almost sounds like no compassion, but it's exactly the opposite. Because you can have compassion without having an emotion. That's the big difference. So, all right. Well, you guys, I have thoroughly enjoyed this presentation. I hope you all will join me on Friday afternoon for my chit chat with Verone and Jeffrey. We're going to talk about energy vampires. We're going to get into that topic a little bit more. Don't worry, there won't be any decoding with that, but just to introduce some other magicians and wizards into your realm of influence. These people are unique spiritual magicians, just like me. They've got normal skills that they're masters at, but they've also got woo skills that they're masters at. So I'm excited to introduce them to you for those of you that have not seen them on my channel before on Friday. So I am going to sign off and leave you guys on this beautiful Monday night. Go outside, look at the sky, look up, and most of all, stay cool. All right. I'll see you guys next time. I love you all. I'm going to put that intro back in here so you guys can chat a little bit, and then I'll see you all next time.